got the straight line speed with the aerodynamics right, but certainly the Williams Judd looks pretty well set now. Patrese already getting wide at him. Patrese moved over a bit then, but that is what we expect. And if Nannini didn't expect it, he'll soon find out, because it won't be... He'll keep doing that until Nannini can find a way past.
There is a very fine line, of course, between holding your racing line and being deliberately bloody-minded and obstructive, and that is exactly what a lot of people in the past have accused Patrese of being and doing. And he's demonstrating that there is a very fine line at the moment as he grimly holds on to his 4th place.
Nannini needs to be very close, a little bit closer than he is. Just closing up. He ideally wants to be, and he's got it. He's about 4 car lengths behind, a bit more than that now. No, that's not going to be, he's not going to be able to pick that up on the toe, I don't think, before the end of the straight. He needs to be a little bit closer through that chicane complex. Get it absolutely right to attack. But he's pulling up, and Patrese, of course, moving over. Can he sell him a dummy? He won't get him round the outside, I wouldn't have thought. Not Patrese, but all good wheel-to-wheel stuff. And Boutsen's got past Berger.
Yes, the Benettons are really flying. Thierry Boutsen, the quiet Belgian, has taken Gerhard Berger and 6 positions, so both the Benettons are in the top 6. Lap 15, race order. Senna leading by just over 6 seconds. Prost is second and catching him. Piquet is third, then Patrese.
And Mansell is beginning to get on terms with that group. Mansell, of course, has now got Berger in his sights. He's a couple of seconds behind him, but he's starting his climb into what one can really call taking the McLarens out the leading group.
And Mansell is up into 7th place ahead of Gerhard Berger, and you can see he's flying. He's visibly closing on Thierry Boutsen, who's 6th.
But this is the battle of the race, the battle of the normally aspirated, and that this is a portent of things to come next year with only with more cars. The other top turbo teams will be joining these top teams with normally aspirated cars next year, and this certainly augurs very well indeed for good motor racing next season. Tremendous 4-car scrap, and Nannini has finally done it, and he did it as we suggested. He sent Patrese to sleep. Patrese was not defending his position then. He sold him a dummy, and Patrese left the door wide open. After all that blocking and things, he just fell asleep on the job. So here we see it again now. Patrese doesn't think he's close enough, leaves the door wide open, and Nannini thinks it's his birthday, because I'm sure he didn't expect a present like that.
But in this race of mounting excitement, Senna on lap 26 now leads Prost by 9.5 seconds. Piquet is hanging on to his third place ahead of this titanic battle for fourth place, which is now held by Alessandro Nannini, who's pulling away. You can see there is Piquet, who is being caught by Nannini. Fifth is Prost, sixth is Boutsen, and Mansell's right with them.
And Nannini's put in a really fast lap, much quicker than any of the other atmosphere cars have gone so far, a 32.8, a full second quicker than the others have been going. So, and Boutsen has now followed through. So the advantage that Nannini had, hoping that Patrese would be holding the others up, has evaporated pretty quickly. He only had one lap like that, and Mansell. So Mansell goes through, and I should think Patrese maybe is getting in some sort of trouble. His engine sounds healthy at the moment, so one would have to suspect that he's got a bit of tyre problem or something like that, or something's gone wrong with the balance of the car, because it looks fairly minor. And looking at it again, here is Boutsen. There he goes, which is effectively the outside, the inside of that corner, but the outside of the main one that comes up, but he got clean through, you see, and was able to let his car swing across the road and block any response from Patrese. And now we get Nannini straight up to Piquet and challenging Nelson Piquet. And there's certainly mutterings at Lotus that they're not too thrilled with Piquet's performance so far this year. They're looking at Senna with green eyes at McLaren's, and they are saying that they don't think that Nakajima gained a second and a half during the winter doing nothing in his ability, because he's about a second and a half closer to Piquet than he was to Senna, and they're not too thrilled. Despite the fact he's world champion, they think he could be doing better. And he's having a go, and their wheels are into lock. This is fearsome stuff, but of course Piquet's got the power up the hill anyway, so at least Piquet is making a fight and defending his position. It was quite hairy stuff, because Nannini managed to get his wheels inside Piquet's. Piquet was up against the curb. He couldn't go any further over himself. And you don't want to touch wheels from there, because they start flying in the air and doing all sorts of horrible things. another fastest lap. That's 2 on the trot. He's been bringing the times down, and he's now got the gap back up under 10 seconds. It's 9.7 seconds, his gap to Senna. So although they're not together and racing each other, there's a very hard race going on up front. There are no team orders for these drivers as Boutsen locks up a brake by the look of it and runs wide. That's a mistake by Boutsen. He went in a bit quick and he's pushing Mansell onto the grass, which is naughty. And Mansell is through. So Nigel Mansell working his way to the front. He's now second in the atmosphere race from a relatively poor qualification time by his standards. And he's only got Nannini now to go to the top of the atmosphere cars. But meanwhile, I think Nannini's got a lot more speed in him than he's being able to show at the moment, because Piquet is definitely holding them up.
This is just the sort of drive that we expect from fighter Nigel Mansell, who's forced his way up from 11th to 5th place.
But still, the Honda turbo power is telling, but it's under acceleration away from the corner that Piquet said, oops, and Nannini looks as if he lost it there. And he most certainly did. Nannini, bad mistake from Nannini, just let the back get away from him. And all the good work, or a lot of the good work, has gone out of the window. He's now dropped, he's just managed to get it going before Berger arrived, but he's back behind Patrese as well.
Yes, down to 7th place, but of course in the process Nigel Mansell gains a place. Ayrton Senna is on his 2/3 distance lap, 40 out of 60, 9.8 seconds ahead of Alain Prost. Piquet is 50 seconds behind Prost. And you can see the gap between Piquet 3rd and Mansell 4th. Mansell with, I think, a fuel advantage on the long term in this race, because Piquet's chassis is undoubtedly not up to the Honda engine in the way that the McLaren is.
And Prost, on the lap before last, put in a very, very quick one indeed, way quicker than anything else in the race. So it looks to me this would be the time that Prost has got to start his charge. He's been back in traffic. And Mansell goes through. So Nigel Mansell finally. And tremendous stuff. Piquet's got the power, of course, but Mansell needs just half a lap to get away. And of course now it's a bad time for him to pass with the main straight coming right up. But I doubt whether Piquet can use much extra boost. And Boutsen still hanging on despite that misfire.
Yes, look at Thierry Boutsen in 5th position, because Piquet was undoubtedly unsettled, of course, when Mansell went through. He's lost his rhythm. Now he's going to wind up the boost and regain the place on sheer power, which he does. Mansell can do nothing about it, but tries to go round the outside of him. Boutsen right up behind Mansell. This is the battle for 3rd place. 3rd Piquet and the Yellow Lotus. 4th Mansell, 5th Boutsen, 3 different makes of car. is, of course, Alessandro Nannini going into the Acqua Minerale bends. Now they climb up from the right-hander to the Variante Alta, and Mansell is passed by both Boutsen and Nannini.
Well, that was a definite problem, unless he just missed gears and got a box for a neutral, and he went out of shot, but looked like he got a serious problem there, Mansell. We didn't pan wide to see where he disappeared to. And there is Nigel Mansell cruising in, obviously in trouble, but a very encouraging race for him, I'm sure.
Yes, and also a very discouraging one, of course. A brilliant drive coming up from 11th to that 4th position, but terribly disheartening. I wonder if his engine has let go. But anyway, Riccardo Patrese is now up into 6th place, and Piquet has got